Yo, people. So, yes, I have another one. So, I've known about this one for a long time. Um, I definitely saw it straight away, but I definitely found it hard to accept and wanted to make sure before I did the video. Because back in the day, I was a massive Public Enemy fan. And so, yeah, this has definitely been a hard one to accept for me, but now, it's undeniable. But let's get straight into it and prove it. I believe that Chuck D of Public Enemy is also NBA legend Spud Webb. And there he is. And if we put them together there, I mean, they are so blatantly the same person. It's ridiculous. So as I said, I was a big Public Enemy fan back in the day. And that's an understatement. I mean, there isn't a group or an act on the planet that's influenced me more than Public Enemy musically. Like the whole concept, the politicalness of it, the ferociousness, the drama, the way they create music, the sampling. Like I'm still making music with Public Enemy in mind to this day. And if you look at the last two videos that I've made, both Public Enemy influenced. Wake Up very much sounds similar to a sort of Brothers Gonna Work It Out Public Enemy song. And the last song, even though it's more chilled, the way I cut up the record at the chorus is very much like Sophisticated Bitch, Public Enemy song off Yo Bum Rush the Show. So when this album come out, it changed the game. There was nothing political in hip hop before this on any kind of level like this. And, it was incredible. And I was into it as I was into all the Def Jam stuff. But really, it was when Rebel Without a Pause come out. And then a Nation of Millions album that I was a massive fan of Public Enemy. And bearing in mind, this is 1988. You're looking at that age for identity and something to latch onto. You're questioning your upbringing. You're questioning the teachers teaching you at school. You're looking for teachers elsewhere. And Public Enemy arrive talking about stuff you never knew about and opening your mind to what was going on in the world. I mean, I still know most of the lyrics to this album. Never bad and the bad as a brother is mad and the matter. The fact is corrupt like a sinner to soul in a rope, but you treat it like soap in a rope because your beats and your lines are so dope. That's just a taster. But yeah, I pretty much knew the whole lyrics to this album. So by the time 1990 came round, I was 15, and Public Enemy were at their peak, and they played this gig at the London Docklands Arena with also Intelligent Hoodlum, Master Ace, the Afros, Young Black Teenagers, London Posse, MC Mello, two British crews. And although I missed those two crews because we were stuck in the queue outside, I missed the British acts, which I was always gutted about. This event was just mind-blowing. I mean, you're 15 and the first musical act you ever see live is all of these acts, but headlined by your favourite crew, which is Public Enemy. I mean, to say it changed my life is an understatement. But even back then, you questioned Chuck and Public Enemy on some things. The whole Farrakhan thing, even though I didn't really understand the Nation of Islam fully as when I was young, it didn't really sit comfortably with me. But the music and lyrics was so good, you could bypass the things you didn't agree with. But there was people at the time that were of the older hip-hop generation that definitely said to me that they didn't appreciate Public Enemy because they felt that when they arrived, they caused racial division. And I now believe that that was what Public Enemy was set up to do. But the irony is, these days, most of their crowd is white. But in the last few years, I started to realise that Chuck D was part of it. And what you're going to do when the grid goes down. I've done a video on that, talking about how they pre-programming for a grid shutdown, which actually happened. So I was right about that. And you know, by that point, I was questioning his whole political rhetoric. They never really sided with a political party. You know, neither party is mine, not the jackass or the elephant. From the By the Time I Got to Arizona song, you know, and then in later years, he's blatantly promoting the Democrat Party and blatantly anti-Republican. And as you can see here, he's doing Illuminati pyramids. And then this one, Masonic finger to the head. And on this photo, he's got a 33 for the Freemasons there. So we know he's blatantly part of it. Now, as Spud Webb goes, when I was first got into basketball in the mid 80s, like, you know, I always loved the Celtics, and the two people were like the Celtics and the Lakers, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. But like Spud Webb was definitely one of the most known people because he was so small and he could dunk. And obviously, if you're small or average height and you're playing basketball and Spud Webb could dunk, it was inspiring. So Spud Webb was definitely someone that I appreciated in the mid 80s. But there he is, throwing up the devil horns, so we know he's part of it. Now it says Chuck D is 5'9", but I don't believe that because he's definitely smaller than me. And I'm 5'10". I believe he's about 5'7". And it says that Spud Webb is 5 foot, but that is not true on the wiki. Spud Webb is definitely about 5'6", 5'7". And just to clarify, they're the same height as Chuck D with LL Cool J. And here is Spud Webb with LL Cool J. I mean, that's a blatant connection. Let's look at some links. Okay, so Spud Webb basically was known to play mainly for the Atlanta Hawks in his prime, but he was drafted in 1985 by the Detroit Pistons. And Chuck D was known for wearing many different baseball and basketball and American football caps, but for sure he wore a lot of Pistons stuff. And I know this for a fact because I literally had Pistons hats and caps because Chuck D was wearing them. Now, I can't find this anywhere on the net, but I know for a fact, as a fan of Public Enemy back in the day, that Chuck D in an interview said that he based his name off the Detroit Pistons basketball coach from 83 to 92 in their glory years, Chuck Daly. And Chuck Daly was the coach at the time when Spud Webb was drafted. And I always found it strange that this pro-black rapper had named himself after a white basketball coach. But now, understanding this, it totally makes sense. So here we have Spud Webb looking like Chuck D in his Atlanta Hawks shirt later in life. And here we have Chuck D calling out the Atlanta Hawks for getting rid of their on-court announcer. So I thought I'd just show you many pictures of them all here. I mean, it's so obvious, it's ridiculous once you look at it. Chuck D without a hat is rare to find, so I found all the ones without Chuck D without a hat or without a cap. I mean, they're just the same person. It's so obvious. They've changed maybe the eyes slightly and maybe the nose, but I mean, look, it's like they are blatantly the same person. So this is Chuck D's wife, but I couldn't find anything on Spud Webb's wife. There's not a lot on the net about Spud Webb, but I found this photo with Spud Webb's daughter, him and his daughter, and if you look at this photo of Chuck D and his family, the girl second from the left, they look very similar. Then if you look at the elder woman third from the left, I presume is Chuck D's mum, Looks very similar, albeit a lighter version of Spud Webb's mum. So yeah, 100% Chuck D, Spud Webb are the same people. Chuck D is just another actor, and that's definitely a hard or a bitter pill to swallow. But it's, I've known about it for a while now, so it's sort of easier to digest. But, this is what's going on. They're all actors, and they've all played many roles, and I know that he's playing another role as well, which I may or may go into in another video. But yeah, I just thought I'd get this one out of the way, get it out there, as I've known about it for quite a while. And I just needed to find the evidence, and which I've done. So yeah, they're all just actors, and the whole world is a stage. Peace!